when the limits of endurance are challenged. An unforgivable crime. A terrifying wrath is about to descend. Is there any way out for the hyena pack? No escape. What happens when lions punish hyenas for their crimes? Kenya, just mentioning this name, immediately conjures up images of the endless golden grasslands of Masai Mara, where the Mara River swirls and solitary acacia trees silhouette against a fiery red sky. This is not just a country, but the heart of the East African wilderness. A colossal natural arena where every square meter of land is steeped in the sweat, tears, and blood of some of the planet's greatest survival journeys. Under the scorching equatorial sun, Kenya is a matrix of contrasts. The breathtaking stillness of a summer midday, juxtaposed with the tearing chases at sunset. But amidst countless clashes, a deep-seated animosity has existed since the dawn of time, etched into the DNA of these apex predators. It's no longer a simple food contest, but a political battle. At midday in Kenya, when the sun blazes down like fire, most predators choose to rest in the shade of acacia trees to conserve energy. The space is silent. A cruel plot is being executed. A pack of spotted hyenas, with their greedy and arrogant nature, decides to break the resting rule to launch a daring raid. Taking advantage of the fact that the alpha lionesses are away hunting in their territory, a pack of hyenas surrounds a dense thicket, the hiding place of the next generation of the royal family. The lion cubs, only a few weeks old, with their spotted fur and innocent eyes, are completely unaware that death is lurking nearby. The crime was more glaringly obvious and horrifying than ever. The hyenas brazenly delivered a fatal bite, taking the life of the lion cub. But the hyena's triumph was instantly extinguished when a majestic figure appeared. No need for darkness to conceal them. The alpha male lion, unexpectedly nearby, had observed them. The hyenas realized their mistake in horror, his golden eyes blazing with intense hatred. They had been caught red-handed, under the scorching sun. No thick bushes or deep crevices could hide them from the king's gaze. What do you think of the hyena's brazen act in broad daylight? The lionesses had returned. The male lions, usually considered lazy, now appeared as true war machines. With their bulging muscles and speeds that can reach 80 kilometers per hour over short distances. The male lions focus on the leaders. The Masai Mara trembles beneath their heels. The hyenas try to weave through the thorny acacia bushes, but to no avail. The male lions pursue relentlessly, their eyes never leaving their target for a second. The alpha male lion steps forward, his mane standing on end. With an air of authority, he charges in relentlessly, giving his opponent no chance to breathe. Extreme panic is evident. The pressure of survival leaves no room for error. The hyenas, cornered in despair, let out desperate cries for help. This is the price to pay for recklessness. The sun still looms high, but the landscape of the savannah has changed forever. The body of the opportunist lies amidst the thick red dust, a landmark marking the limit of endurance. The lions had reclaimed their honor through a fierce purge, transforming the hyena's arrogance into a lasting, terrifying nightmare. The male lions, having achieved their justice, now stood motionless like stone statues, their manes drooping in weariness and gloom. This victory was not achieved with triumphant roars, for the price paid was too great. The sound of the mother lion's deep, choked moans echoed through the silent midday summer, carrying with it all the helplessness, hatred, and profound grief of a mother. How do you feel about the mother lion's mournful cries? Will the male lion's brutal revenge be enough to compensate for this immense loss? Please share your feelings. Leaving the bloody scene, the hyenas that were lucky enough to escape the encirclement are now just lifeless corpses, trudging along. Gone are the arrogant laughter. Gone is the unity of a pack of elite hunters. Instead, there are weak whimpers and ragged breaths. Their fur matted with red dust and sweat, they trudge towards their old den, an abandoned termite mound in the cracked earth. Under the scorching Kenyan sun, the temperature now feels like torture, adding to their extreme fear. A few collapse in the middle of the grassland, not from their wounds, but from exhaustion and the psychological shock after witnessing the king's wrath. They lay motionless, their dull eyes gazing toward the horizon, where the silhouettes of majestic manes loomed. Not far away, completely separate from the chaos and the stench of death on the ground, lay a world of stillness and pride. On the branches of massive acacia trees, where the broad canopy sheltered them from the scorching sun, a leopard rested. But behind that cold indifference lay a burning, predatory instinct. It was not alone. A young cub patiently awaited its first sliver of prey from its mother. With its perfectly spotted coat blending into the light filtering through the leaves, it had observed the entire bloody spectacle. The leopard merely stretched, a graceful yet powerful movement. Suddenly, without a roar, the calm water surface erupted. An innocent antelope appeared at the base of the tree. Like a steel spring released, the mother leopard leaped down from a height of dozens of meters. Its eyes gleamed at the first prey of the day. But instinct taught it that on this savannah, the smell of fresh blood was an invitation to death. The peace vanished as gusts of wind carrying the scent of hot blood spread across the plain. From the distant termite mounds, dull eyes reappeared. These were the hyenas, opportunistic predators, stalking prey from the leopard. The leopard cub quickly climbed the tree. Ignoring the hyenas charging just meters away, the cub made a vertical climb up the gnarled trunk. Its claws dug deep into the bark. In the blink of an eye, its prize was pulled up to a height of 5 meters, a safe haven from those who could only stand below, groaning in hunger. Hunger and greed made them forget the golden rule of the savannah. They snarled furiously, clawing at the gnarled tree trunks and howling to call their pack, hoping the sheer power of their numbers would frighten the leopards. As the last rays of the day faded below the horizon, Kenya donned a mysterious black velvet cloak. Dawn gradually broke, dispelling the hazy mist that enveloped Kenya. The air began to vibrate with the songs of birds heralding the new day. But on a high mound, where the bushes intertwined, another life was beginning to emerge, vibrant, noisy, and full of discipline. This was the headquarters of the African wild dogs. Unlike the menacing stillness of the leopards or the majesty of the lions, the wild dog's den was a world of unity. From the dark depths of the earth, tiny heads with large ears began to emerge. The appearance of the puppies was the heart of the pack. They burst out of the den like a whirlwind, transforming the open ground into a bustling playground. The puppies cuddled, licked, and danced around the adults. It wasn't just a game, it was a ritual of bonding. While the adults prepared for their early morning hunt, their eyes were always fixed on the children with a tenderness rarely seen in top predators. Here, children were the #1 priority. Wild dogs were the only species that let their young eat first, a testament to their unwavering discipline and strong pack loyalty. But don't let the cuteness of the puppies fool you. This is where Africa's most effective death squads are trained. While the puppies were playfully chasing each other in front of the cave entrance, the adult dogs assigned to guard suddenly froze. Their large ears, like two radars, spun around, pointing towards the dense bushes not far away. A strange scent wafted on the wind. The entire pack of guardians immediately stood up, forming a line to shield the cave entrance, their eyes gleaming with a cold, sharp intensity. Who was the intruder? A leopard lurking? Or a pack of hyenas returning for revenge? From the misty morning fog, large, silent figures emerged. Not the fangs of an enemy, but the curved horns and long beards characteristic of wildebeest. Not the hunter, but the prey. Without a moment's hesitation, seizing the opportunity, the pack of guard dogs gave the order to attack with short, sharp hisses. They darted like scattered arrows, tearing through the mist. The wildebeest herd panicked and scattered, the pounding of their hooves creating a small earthquake on the cracked ground. When the wildebeest was exhausted, it collapsed in the middle of the meadow. There was no quick bite to the throat. The pack of wild dogs began their feast immediately. This was the pure cruelty of nature. Prey fell not from a fatal wound, but from utter exhaustion before the iron discipline of the pack. Returning to the high mound where the puppies awaited, instinct told them the meal was near. Their large ears perked up, pointing toward the meadow where the scattered figures were. They performed an important ritual, licking and nudging the corners of the mouths of the returning members with their snouts. This is a command for survival. In response to that plea, the adult dogs began regurgitating the still red pieces of meat. This is the safest way for wild dogs to transport food, leaving no trace of blood along the way. While the puppies eagerly enjoyed their first meal right at the entrance of the den, the adults, though still hungry, absolutely did not compete for it. What do you think of the unique food transport method of African wild dogs? Could solidarity, an absolute priority for the younger generation, be the secret to their highest hunting success rate on the savannah? Kenya witnessed the full spectrum of life and death this afternoon. From the heart-wrenching grief of the lioness queen the piercing bite of the king, to the ultimate patience of the leopard, and the inseparable bond of the wild dog pack. In this land, there is no room for arrogance or error. Every living creature is a link in the grand symphony of survival, where the death of one is the rebirth of another. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next breathtaking journeys. The moment of silence before the explosion. Then the carcass of the prey appeared from somewhere, and immediately behind it were the hunters, hidden in the ashes. In just a few seconds, the savannah was ablaze. Could the faster runner escape the sea of fire? The baboon chaos? Escape from the burning savannah? Dawn gradually cracked from the horizon, so red that it seemed as if the sun was cast in the furnace of the savannah itself. That light did not gently fall to the ground. It poured down like hot ash, clinging to every dry blade of grass, every skinny acacia tree that had been stripped bare after the drought. The morning air was not cold at all. It was warm, like the last breath of a hot, dry night, breathing into the ground, a smoldering pulse that every living creature could feel clearly. In that heavy atmosphere that seemed about to burst, the Iburu baboons woke up. The baby monkey's chirping was the first, faint but clear, like tiny rays of light piercing the remaining silence. The females huddled around their babies, sniffing the wind, checking the ground with their hands before dropping them. The young males stretched their backs, heaving their shoulders, preparing for a long day that their instincts told them would be restless. But in the midst of all this commotion, Banda did not move immediately. He sat on a rotten acacia trunk, his back higher than the rest of the herd, like a rock still holding the night air. His broad chest rose and fell slowly with each breath, a leader never in a hurry, for his decisions would determine the fate of the herd. Banda's fur was dark gray and thick, his shoulders broad as shields. His face, in the fiery light of the early morning, was covered with scars that had faded with age. These were more than just battle marks. They were memories, nights of hyena fights, afternoons of escapes from leopards, near misses of cubs by patrolling lions. Each scar was a lesson, and each lesson became a piece of the pack's soul. He closed his eyes for a moment, inhaling deeply. The wind brought the smell of scorched earth, thin ash, dried blood from somewhere far away. But it was more than that. There was something else, a faint vibration like loud footsteps on the horizon, a strange scent he could not yet identify. To others, it was just the wind. But to Banda, it was a signal. A signal he could not yet name, only that it would reach his pack today, and when it did, he would have to stand between it and the weakest. The cubs huddled at their mother's feet, innocently playing with the dew-dampened grass. They did not understand why the adult males stood further away, why the females' old eyes kept scanning the grass. But Banda understood. The red dawn light made the savannah different. Such days always hid something: a carcass, a failed hunt, a pack of hyenas on the move, a stray, or worse, a fire. Banda stepped down from the acacia trunk. His whole body moved gracefully, but with weight. A low, short hiss escaped from his neck. That was all it took. The pack slowed down. The females pulled their cubs closer, as if shielding them with their own bodies. The young males jerked, shifting from a relaxed state to a wary one, their eyes darting around as if someone had hit their vital nerves. Banda did not show aggression. did not pound his fists on the ground as he would when confronting an enemy. He just walked, slow and steady. His silence was a stronger command than the screams of others. In the blood-red light of dawn, Banda's eyes held the emotion that only true leaders could sense, a premonition of approaching. Not a vague hunch, but an intuition honed over hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, something any baboon leader must rely on to keep the group alive. And that morning, it was that breath of wind, with its smell of earth, hot ashes, and something quiet. A sign that the peace that had just been born since dawn would not last. The savannah might soon be shaken by something so simple, a corpse that no one had seen. As the sun rose higher, and the thin mist rose like white smoke, the Eberu herd dispersed under the sparse acacia bushes to find breakfast. The females carefully scratched the dry soil, digging out the remaining small roots under the sun-baked grass. The young males dug harder, turning over the soil to find fat insects. The baby monkeys trotted between their mother's feet, playing and trying to find something to put in their mouths, their clear eyes unaware of the dangers floating in the wind. But Banda sensed it clearly. Something was wrong this morning. A light breeze blew by, carrying a breath thicker than usual. Banda stopped right in the middle of the clearing. He bowed his head slightly, facing the wind. His eyes narrowed. The smell of earth, the smell of dry grass, but mixed in with it was something else. Something heavy, pungent, cold as a needle. The young males also stood still, some of them looking at each other nervously. They didn't know exactly what it was, but as soon as Banda stopped moving, everything around him became tense. Silence spread through the herd like a suddenly calm surface before a storm. Banda sniffed again. This time, he was sure. It was the smell of something that had stopped breathing. A large body, dead for hours. The smell wasn't just the smell of food. It carried the scent of other animals who were surely on their way. He took a few steps, pushing through the short grass. The ground ahead was discolored, compressed as if by a night struggle. In the middle of the grass, A wildebeest carcass lay collapsed, its head tilted to the ground, its curved horns stuck into the dry earth as if nailed. The Iburu herd was in an uproar. The baby monkeys were immediately pulled into the middle. The females climbed the low acacia branches to watch. The young males bristled the hair on the backs of their necks, their eyes focused nervously on the carcass. Banda did not approach. He watched, sniffed the wind, listened to the ground. The smell of death was more than just the smell of food. In the savannah, it was like a bell, calling to the opportunists, hyenas, vultures, wild dogs, and sometimes lions. A body, lying in midday, never stood alone. It was the center of a dangerous vortex that any creature could be drawn into if it came at the wrong time. Distant, distorted laughter. Thin, long, like a knife scraping against stone, hyenas. Seconds later, squat silhouettes appeared on the western hilltop. They ambled forward, one by one, unhurried, knowing no one would compete with them for food unless they were desperate. Their teeth bared instinctively, not to attack, but enough to send a message. This was their meal. At the same time, the sky above was undulating with black streaks. The vultures landed in the outer circle, one by one, their wings spread wide like a shadow of death covering the ground. The Iburu flock was in turmoil. If a young one got out of step for a moment, the whole flock could be caught up in a bloody and violent struggle. The flock did not want to confront the hyenas. Not because of fear, but because the flock could not bear any loss in this morning that was becoming abnormal. The fragile peace of the early morning was completely shattered. A corpse had just appeared in the night. And to the savannah, it was only the first spark of an explosive day. The wind shifted like a large creature turning, pushing layers of hot air into the savannah. In the moment the Iburu flock was still keeping their distance from the corpse, the ground in the distance suddenly flashed an unusual red. Not the red of dawn, not the red of blood. It was a light that shook, swayed, flickered like the heart of a giant beast, slowly awakening. The dry grass had caught fire. It had started as a few leaves twisted into charcoal, but the wind that had passed through the night was drier than usual. It drove the flames into a long streak, then turned, blew hard, dragging dry branches with it, crackling like bones breaking. The flames slithered along the ground, each breath of wind adding a tongue to the invisible beast. The savannah shivered. The creatures farther away began to change direction and run. The smell of burning came like a hot punch to the chest. The hyenas, which had been occupying the antelope carcass, suddenly stopped gnawing. They raised their heads almost simultaneously, sniffing rapidly loud, strained snorts. In that moment, their instincts overcame their greed. They took a few last bites, then scattered like banished ghosts. The vultures also knew what was coming. They started, flapped their wings, and flew in low, chaotic circles, like living black cinders trying to keep their distance from the growing fire. The Iburu watched, not fully understanding the nature of the fire, but sensing the change in the rhythm of the earth. The females held their young closer. The young males stood erect, their hair bristling along their spines, an ancient reflex kicking in. Danger was near. The savannah's breathing changed, and the baboons felt it as clearly as a drumbeat on their bones. Banda stepped onto the open ground, facing the wind. He was not afraid of fire, but he feared what the fire would bring. A great plume of smoke rose into the sky, a black trail rolling like a long arm across the grasslands on the wind. The herd of Thompson's antelope rushed past, their small feet pounding the ground, dust rising into the air. A zebra slipped in panic, then sprang up and ran. The impalas shot like bullets through the bushes, their breathing whistling in waves. The savannah began to run. In the rumble of their footsteps, Banda knew that if he did not decide now, the herd would be swept into chaos, and that was worse than meeting a predator. Because when animals lose control, they do not need to attack to kill. A sweep is enough. Banda took a few steps back, emitting a low, short sound, just strong enough to cut through the wind. The herd responded immediately. The calves were pushed into the center, the females pressed close together. The young males occupied the outer perimeter, a tight formation, no gaps, like a single body. The savannah flared. The fire drew closer, accompanied by a roaring hiss. Banda looked straight at the red streak spreading across the ground. He did not look like a man of fear. He looked like a man of calculation. He knew where the fire could hide. He knew which way the wind could not push the fire. He knew the southern hollow was safer than the dry grass ahead. He knew all of this because the responsibility for the survival of the Iburu herd lay in his own breath. A hot wind swirled through his fur, like a final warning. Banda clenched his jaw. A baboon roar rang out, echoing through the grass. The Iburu herd immediately changed direction, leaving behind the burning antelope carcass, leaving behind the runaway hyenas, leaving behind the seemingly peaceful morning. As the flames began to lick the acacia trunks, the savannah seemed to understand that a dead body could be the start of a feast. But when the wind joins that feast, it becomes a firestorm. And today, Banda will have to lead his herd through that very storm. The savannah explodes like a running carpet of fire. First comes the roar of the buffalo herd pouring down from the hillside, their black bodies weighing hundreds of kilograms, rushing past like a storm of steel. The force of their running makes the ground beneath Banda's feet shake with each beat. Dust billows into columns that obscure the view. The Iburu herd is forced to the side of the low mound, where the impalas, antelopes, and zebras are rushing past in panic. The thick smell of smoke makes the air so hot it can burn the lungs. In the midst of that chaos, a deep, deep roar rings out from the bushes, the roar of someone who is not running away from the fire, but taking advantage of it. A male lion appears, his mane black with smoke, his eyes glowing yellow like two blown coals. After it, 3 hyenas charged, their mouths gaping with blood from the carcass they had just abandoned. They were not cooperating. They were simply being pushed in the same direction by the same storm. Banda pulled the herd together. The cubs shivered, clinging to their mother's breasts. The females hunched their shoulders in protection. The young males bristled on their backs, ready to pounce on anything that came within reach of their center. But the savannah waited for no one to prepare. A leopard burst out of the burning bush, charging straight into the Iburu herd, not because it was aiming, but because the fire was chasing after it. In that brief moment, its eyes met with Banda's, 2 creatures forced into the same boundary of survival. Banda rushed forward, rearing up, roaring, tearing through the hot smoke. The leopard paused for half a second, saving the herd. The panicked animals swept across, preventing the leopard from turning back. The fire consumed the bush behind. The lion's vision was blocked. The hyenas broke away. In the chaos, only the Iburu herd maintained their formation as steady as a rock in a rushing stream. Banda led the herd through the narrow ravine where the fire had not yet reached. Every step was a gamble with luck, but he did not stop. He did not look back. He did not allow himself to hesitate even for a breath. Only when he had crossed the edge of the fire, the flames receding behind him, did Banda stop. He turned to look at the Red Sea that was swallowing everything behind him. And in his eyes, which were cold, sharp, and unwavering, there was a rare flicker of emotion, wonder. This morning's savannah was more than just an anomaly. It signaled something bigger was beginning. A corpse had fanned the flames. But what had caused that corpse? Banda knew what he had just seen was just the beginning. Night had fallen, and the ashes and flames had quieted. The Iburu herd huddled around Banda, tired but safe. The wind shifted again, carrying the footsteps of someone approaching from the darkness. Savannah never let a mystery lie for long. Tomorrow, Banda would face something even more dangerous. What do you think really killed the wildebeest? And what species will emerge when night completely engulfs the savannah? Leave your guesses below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow the next part of the journey of species survival in the wild.